All right, welcome along. My name is Bosh. This is Bosh's Ableton Beginner Bits, and today we're going to be doing an episode called Humanizing Drums. Now, this is going to be looking at how to make your drums sound a little bit less rigid, a little bit less stuck to the grid, feel a bit more natural, and potentially make them feel a bit more like they might have been recorded in a studio rather than just being programmed flat in on a laptop or a computer or whatever. So we're going to discuss 3 different pillars that I kind of try to stick to when I'm making tunes and when I'm making drums in particular. And these are as follows. Rule 1 is creating the kit. So we're going to look at actually building the drum kit, which parts we're going to use and which parts we're going to use for certain styles of music as well. And then we're going to look at creating the drummer. So we're going to then put a human person in front of that drum kit and decide how we can make it feel like it's an actual person playing it rather than just programmed drums. And then finally, we're going to create the room. So we're going to create the space that kit is sat in and that it's being recorded in. Now, this varies quite a bit because I don't know if you know, but when you're recording drums, there's microphones on the drums, like actually touching the drums or almost, really close to the skin of the drum. But then there's also room mics, and the room mics will pick up a lot more of the ambient sound of the room and the reflections and things that you get off that specific room that kit's in. So we're going to look at those 3 things: creating the kit, creating the drummer, and creating the room. Now, last thing before we get into it, I want to thank everyone as always for subscribing, watching the videos, commenting and everything else. Your comments make me want to keep doing this, so that's always a bonus. Also, you'll start noticing at the top of my video description, there's a link to buy me a coffee, which is basically like a little tip service. If you want to send me a little few quid here and there, you can do. It's anything like that's greatly appreciated, and it will all go towards making more videos, making better videos, and hopefully making more of the videos that you guys want. And I'm also going to be doing live soon as well. I'm going to do a live stream making a tune. I asked a few people on the YouTube channel, and people seem to want me to make a tune on live, so I'm going to do that at some point as well. But without further ado, let's get into it. This is Humanizing Drums with Bosh. The first thing we're going to look at is creating the kit. We're going to look at the type of music we're going to make. I'm going to try and make like a pretty basic, not necessarily one drop, but almost like a dubstep style beat, but with a more reggae style in mind. So it's going to be a kick, a snare, hats. That's going to be the basic stuff, bit of percussion in there as well. If it was like a traditional reggae one drop, I might not use the kick, or the kick would be on the 3. But I'm gonna build it like a dubstep tune, but it's gonna be instrumented more like a reggae tune. So the kick that I want is I don't want anything too digital sounding. It's going to be quite dull, really, because I want it to sound like a real drum, a real kick drum, rather than a digital kick drum. So I'm going to scan here. Now, I usually start at the top. Oh, let's type. Oh, by the way, I've changed my mouse pointer. Someone said that it's quite hard to follow the mouse, so I've made it bigger and I've put it on this inverted thing. Hopefully that's better. If not, if it's still a bit of a tricky thing to follow, I will... I'll get some kind of other emphasis on the mouse. We can also... But yeah, so hopefully you can see the mouse better. Right, so I want a more natural sounding kick, and I usually start at the top of these, but I'm going to go from the bottom somewhere and see what we can find around here. Now, let's have a look. Where are we? Here we are. Now, I was attracted to these vinyl sounds. These are all Ableton samples, by the way. I'm attracted to these vinyl sounds just because I feel like it's going to give me... The name just feels like it's going to give me a bit more of a natural sounding kick. Bugger off. Right. Oh, yeah, we're in exactly where we want to be here. Okay, let's do these. Now, these 4 here are quite interesting. I'm going to put 1 and 3 together because they're a bit harder, and then I'm going to put 2 and 4 together. Oh, come on. Because they're a bit softer. And then if I put these in, you'll hear. Let's put them... No, let's do that, and that. All right, so that's 4 kicks we've got in there. Now we're going to use that for variation later. And let's build this like I would. I'm going to build it like a proper kit as well. So let's get another drum rack. Let's get 3 drum racks. Now we're going to look for a couple of things here. We're going to look for Ableton samples, a snare. And I want quite a low snare. It's not Not too sharp, not reminiscent of a clap, more like a dubby snare. So let's skip further around here somewhere. Let's see what we can... let's go for these vinyl snares. Let's stick to... Now, what are the kicks? Now, this is another tip to think of. If you can get all samples from one sample pack that's they're designed to be together, that's half of the effort gone of creating that kit. So if you've got loops, you can cut them out there. Any drums that already fit together because they're already in a pack, they're going to be better to use. So let's look at these DLD snares. I'm going to go with these three. They're a little bit strange sounding, not going to lie, but I think they're going to serve us well. Right, let's do hats. Let's see if we've got any vinyl hats. See what these probability hats are. Right, they're a bit digital, so we don't want them. Right, they're quite good. I like them. Just gotta keep scrolling. Let's do that as well. And let's see how these sound all together. All right, it's all right. It's not bad. I'm gonna keep going. Ooh, maybe those three. Now I'm not gonna delete the other ones. I'm just gonna leave a gap and let's try moving these up. Let's see what these sound like. Let's see what this. All right, they're almost the same. It's not easy. Maybe that one. Maybe that one can go on this bottom set here. Let's put it back to this. All right, let's put that with a kick and a snare. Let's try a different snare. All right. What else would we need? Potentially some toms. Let's go tom. Now you kind of, again, you want, with toms, you want some that sound like they go together. Now these would all be really good for doing like velocity changes and things, but we'll look at that later. Right, let's get the mid, the low, and the high. Let's put those in this drum rack here. All right. Do. All right, so that's all right. It's not bad. So we've created our kit. It's simple. Something else I'm going to put in there actually. Now I'm going to create a MIDI track, get rid of this, go to the drums, add a drum rack in there. But then I'm going to group these together because these are the highs. And then I'm just going to try and find a crash somewhere. So we need a crash. That's terrible. All right, let's do that. Let's rename them. So this is cymbals, hats, crash. There we go. Can make that a little bit smaller there. Toms. All right. Let's put this in. Let's see how this sounds. Okay, so that's already too short, but we've got a basic kit together. So we've built the kit. We're making something that's going to be, like I say, I've decided for something a little bit reggae, dubwise. It's a dubwise kind of thing I'm making here. So it's not super authentic dub, or I'd have used a rim. Let's quickly look at putting a rim in there instead. Let's see how that sounds. So we need a good rim shot. Oh no, actually no, we want a stick. Now, as you can see here, there's loads of snare options in Ableton already, so you don't need to worry about getting loads of samples and all this stuff. Here we go, side stick, right. So let's drop a stick in there, and let's see how that changes it. So this is the one with the snare. Very much more dubstep vibe. And then change it to a rim. Turn that rim up would be good. Too high. A reverb. Yeah. So this is where I talk about building the kit and creating the right kit for the sound that you want to make. If you want to make something quite deep, dubby, old school sounding, then you're going to want to put a rim in there and like some very minimal, something basic in the way of hats. If you're doing something a bit more like an old 80s dancehall kind of vibe or something like that, you're going to want a bit more of a, like a harder snare. So picking the parts of your kit plays a big part in the vibe of the tune. I live by that. So we've got kick, snare, we've got rim, a few hats, we've got a crash, we've got some toms in there. Do we want to put some percussion in there? Let's do a little bit. Let's just do a shaker, and I'm going to put this in the high channel as well. So, and the way I'm going to do the shaker is a little bit different. I'm going to go to the samples. Let's type in shake loop. Right, and I'm going to put. Let's do that. Instruments, delete that. We want simpler. Samples, shake loop. Yeah, I'm going to use that one. I'm going to put it into slice mode here. All right, now you can see it's automatically picked up where the transients are here. And they are now linked to the keyboard. So, let me just click this on so you can hear it. So let's put these in like this. Do I know why? No. Put a little fade out on them. Okay, let's... Now we're going to pull our hats down a little bit. All right. So that's the concept. I'm going to leave that there. We're going to call that creating the kit. picking sounds that work together and kind of sound like they could be a drum kit all on their own. So as I said, you can make a really easy job of this if you can get existing drum loops and cut them up, because those drums will already sound like they fit together. A little bit cheating, if depending on how you're looking at it. I don't think it is. I've used loops before and cut them up. I think it's perfectly fine, as I've done here with the shaker loop. Just cut it up and used it. Think about the style that you're making when you're doing this. As I've said before, if you're making something a bit darker, deeper, something like that, you're going to want drums that lean a bit more towards that. If you want something lighter and happier, then you could have a little tighter kit. So next, we're going to look at creating the drummer. So this means putting a human person in front of this drum kit that you've created and letting them do what they do. So let's start. I'm going to create a 4-bar loop first, and then we're going to make it into 8. So duplicate that. And then what I'm going to do is, let's listen. All right. So what I'm trying to do is imagine what a drummer could do to make this 4 bars more interesting. Because at the moment, everything else is only looping, is 1 bar. The kick I've made into 4 bars. So we're going to work instrument by instrument and extend them out. Ignore that. And now because these kick drums are all a little bit different, yeah, then it just creates that more natural feeling already. So we've got 4 bars of kicks. Let's do the snare. We're going to stick with this snare for... No, should we go with the... Let's go with the stick. Should we go with the stick? Yeah, let's go towards stick. We're going to take it a little bit more of a natural reggae thing, because humanizing drums is for more natural sounding tunes. Now, a 1-drop wouldn't have the kicks, but I'm demonstrating the technique here. So we're going to go to the... No, we're going to need to go to this rim now that we're using. We're going to click duplicate. All right, so that's 4 bars of snare. Again, we've just got some variations. Every bar, there's a little bit of something changes, and it just means that it keeps the interest. If you're a listener, you're not getting bored. Next, hats. Right, I want to change this hat here. Don't like it too much. So I'm going to solo this and my voice is going to go. So I'm just going to solo it and just have a little try playing the different... I think my voice will go anyway. Try the different hats. Because it sounds... It doesn't sound... That hat doesn't sound natural. It sounds cut off. So I want to get rid of it. Right, so the hats, just simple. Yep. Now those hats fit together because they're both the same like brand of hat, both NM hat 1 and 3, so they kind of fit together. It's nice. Let's add those shakers back in. Now the only thing I do with a shake loop like this is just change some of these. Maybe I do, let's put one there. Let's not do that one, let's do that one and that one. Yeah. And then finally the crash. 1 every 8 bars for this one. So we're going to get 2 repetitions of our 4-bar loop before we get that crash again, which now has created 8 bars of variation. Let's go. Just do some levels. That can come down. Kick can come down a little. So you can listen to that a few times and not get bored of it. So we've created like a realistic loop that's got variation in it. Now we're going to go back through and add velocity hit changes. Velocity is, imagine how hard you're hitting those drums. If you're hitting it really soft, it's a low velocity. If you're hitting it really hard, it's a high velocity. So we're going to go through now and alter things to make the velocity seem a bit more realistic. Now the drums, the kick, sorry, let's get the kick. The kick, I've already kind of added velocity in by having those 4 different samples because they all sound a little bit different. So I'm not going to do much with that. I'm going to go straight to my snares. God damn it. You'll have seen, I've already drawn a bit of velocity in here. Let's listen to that on its own. So you can hear it's kind of going, kek, kek. It just gives it that feeling that a drummer's hit it hard and then soft, which again just gives it that more human feel. So I don't need to do too much more with the snares there. They're fine. Now the hats is where it really comes into play here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to select, hold shift, and then select random hats. Let's do that one. Let's do a long one there and this. And I'm just going to lower the velocity a little bit on them. Just a smidge, a little bit more. And then let's do this and that and that. Up a little bit. You can hear when I drag this. Yeah, you can hear the changes. And then what you can do is go through each one a little bit and kind of add your own take on that. I'm going to make the first hat the loudest. All right. And let's see how this sounds. I should have A-B'd it really. As a matter of fact, yeah, let's A-B. If we're going to say A-B, it means that we are going to basically check reference one against the other. So you've got an A and a B and you're going to flick between them. So let's listen to the A first and then I'll switch to the B. Okay, so A is straight, B has got the velocity changes. Let's have a listen. You can hear it's only slight, but there's very little slight variations in the volume of those hats between the A and the B. So let's keep the B playing. And then we're going to do this the same with the shakers. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to one by one manually adjust these. Now what you can do, there is another way to do this using the velocity, but I prefer to know what's going on and be able to edit it. So what you can do is, there is a random velocity plugin. I'll show you where it is. Let me just get rid of this. And it's instruments, no audio effects. MIDI effects. And then velocity. So you can drag this on, put it on random, and it'll vary your velocity for you. Easier way to do it, but you have less control. If there's one that goes too low, you can't do anything about it, or you have to edit your settings in the machine. I prefer to at least be able to go through and sort of change if I want the emphasis to hit somewhere else. Like if I want it to feel random, but equally I want, say, emphasis on every third hat, I can go through and I can do that. Now this does seem like a bit of a blag, but it doesn't take too long. And then once it's done, it's done. That's it. I'm going to leave those two there. Let's drop that down a bit. Now, let's listen. Now, these are going to, on their own, these are going to sound okay. Anyway, let's do the same thing. Let's A and B. So the A is going to be straight. And then the B is going to be wonky. Let's listen again. You'll just have to watch me switch through because I can't, my voice won't work on it. So like I say, it's not going to make as much difference on the shakers because we've used this loop. These shakers are already, they've already got velocities kind of built into them. All right, you crash, you don't need to do velocity on because there's one every so often. Toms we haven't put in yet. So let's quickly put some toms in. Ooh. And I'm going to want them at the end of an 8th bar like the crash. Now, I'm not, to be honest, I'll be completely honest, this is the first time I've done toms ever in any of my tunes. I've rarely used them. I've only done it for this video, so we're learning this one together. And I want this to go do 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 1 2 no. That's not right. That's the, why have I put these in the wrong order? So they sound a bit more like a rock drum kit. Oh my god. All right, for the sake of this, I'm going to leave them in there. But they definitely sound a bit more like a stage rock kit. And this is what I talked about. Picking the right stuff for the music that you're making is super important. But let's leave that there anyway. I'm not going to faff around with it too much longer. So we've created the kit and we've created the drummer. Let's have one more listen to this loop what we've got so far. I might make these go dun 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 dun. Boom, boom, dun 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 dun. It's all right. So, first time I've done toms. So, we've created the kit, we've created the drummer, now we're going to create the room. So, what I want to do with this is all this needs to be in one room. So, I'm going to highlight. I don't need to highlight those, I don't think. Right, unselect them. So, we've selected all our tracks, and we're going to Control and G into a group. We're going to call this kit. And now all our drums are in this kit. Doing it like this means that we've got a volume control for the entire kit, but then we've also got this group control for all the hi-hats and things. Speaking of, quickly, I'm a stickler for doing this. Just need to put, if you listen to these hi-hats and with the EQ on, let's see where they're hitting. Because I've got a feeling there'll be some bass in there. All right. Yeah, so that's all right. That's an all right kit. We're gonna create the room now, and that literally just involves adding a reverb. Now, one thing I want to stress is that I would not try putting your dub effects in just yet. All your spring reverbs, your delays, anything like that, I would not be putting them in just yet. I would wait until you've created more of the tune, and then you can figure out where there's accent best and things like that. The first thing I would consider is just creating a studio space for this drum kit. So we're just imagining it's not going to be a massive room, probably not much bigger than like a bedroom or a kitchen or something like that. So let's use the standard reverb. Drag it onto your group channel. Let's take that pre-delay down. And then I'm going to try and build a room. Now, what I want to imagine with this room is that it's quite small and the decay is not going to be very long because it's quite small. We're not in a long cave, so it's not got ages to travel. You've kind of got to imagine you're being in a room and what this room is going to sound like. So let's automatically going to take the room size down. And we're going to take the decay down a bit as well. Now I'm going to do this on full wet so you can really hear the difference in the sounds. Alright, so that's a small room with a short decay. We're going to go big room. That's in a bigger space, but it's still not travelling very far. Let's put longer decay. We're starting to get to sound a bit more tunnely, a bit more cavey. That's a bit too much like a small box. Don't want to EQ yet. Okay, so we've got a very small, tight sound. It's quite a small room. Now what we're going to do is pull that right back using the dry wet control and almost remove it till there's just a little bit of that reverb left. That rhythm there at end sounds horrible. Let's sort that out. Actually, let's just change the toms back to a straight pattern. Right, can you hear now how that's got its own a bit more life to it? Now I'm going to A/B again, so I'm going to take that, put the reverb on, take it off, and so on. This is with the reverb, and I'm going to take it off. Oh, it's dead. We can take that. We can remove that reverb a little bit more. There's still quite a lot there. So let's pull it down a little bit. All right, so let's do that again. A and B. No reverb. And then let's turn it on in 3, 2, 1. Yeah. And that's only on 15%. It could even be lower. You can take it down to 10. Oh, hang on. You can still hear the difference with 10% on. So this kind of gives you a good idea of you don't need that much reverb on to be able to perceive it. So again, let's hear it without. Dead. And then I'm going to change it at the end of this phrase here. It's in a room now. It's got a bit of feel to it. Let's switch A/B these. Let's put the rigid. Something else I haven't done. We're going to go back to creating the drummer. We've done natural velocity, but we haven't done natural timing. And again, it just involves going through, getting right close in here, selecting a few of these, and you're just going to hold Alt and press your forwards or backwards, left or right arrow once or twice. Not much, just a little bit. Let's do this one. twice. Let's leave that one normal. Let's do a 2 back. Let's do a 2 forward, a 1 forward, 1 forward, 1 back, 2 forward, normal, 1 back, 3 forward, hooray, and leave that one there. So again, we've just moved them so they're not all exactly on the grid. Shaker, we're going to do the same with the shaker as well. Let's do it a different way. Let's select every third one. And then maybe fourth. Do them. Just random ones, really. Alt, double drag there. Let's do this one. Oh, no, not that. That one. Let's see ones that we haven't done. This, that. One back. It's only slight movements, but you can see now they're off center. So this one goes back into creating the drummer. We've created how hard he's hitting it. We've created the timing as well. Let's listen. Now that to me just sounds a bit more real. Let's put it back to... So this is straight, no edits. And then we're going to put the edits on at the end of this phrase. Yeah, so the timing doesn't make too much of a difference. Not going to lie about that. It's not much, but again, just slight things. The velocity is the one that really does it there. Take the reverb off again. Dead. Put it on. All right, and I think I'm going to leave it there. So, picking the right drums for your kit. This is creating the kit. So, the 3 points we've covered today. Creating the kit, picking the right drums for your kit and what style of music you're making. Creating the drummer by putting in variations, by putting in velocity changes, and by putting in timing changes. And then creating the room by putting on a reverb that's quite small, low room size, low decay time, and low dry wet value. And that's it. That's how to create your drummer in a studio. My name's Bosh. This has been Bosh's Ableton Beginner Bits. Subscribe, follow, share, all that business. Always much appreciated. Go click that Buy Me a Coffee link if you've got a bit of spare change in your bank account. And I will see you next time. See you next time. Ciao.